Have you ever wondered whether your age could hurt your chances of receiving TDIU? The problem is, that's not what the regulations say. Today, we're going to open the VA's rulebook and look at what the VA is actually required to consider when deciding a TDIU claim. By the end of this video, you'll understand why age isn't supposed to determine entitlement, what the VA must evaluate instead, and how to build evidence that addresses the correct legal standard. One of the biggest reasons veterans never apply for TDIU is because they've already talked themselves out of it. Ask yourself this: are my service-connected disabilities preventing me from securing and following substantially gainful employment? That's the starting point. Now, before the VA can even consider that question, there has to be a foundation. TDIU only applies to service-connected disabilities. If a condition isn't service-connected, it can't be used as the basis for TDIU. That's why service connection is always the bedrock. Generally speaking, the schedular requirements are one service-connected disability rated at 60% or higher, or a combined evaluation of 70% with at least one disability rated at 40%. Meeting those percentages doesn't automatically grant TDIU. They simply open the door. Now let's address the myth directly from the regulations. 38 CFR 4.16 states that it is the established policy of the Department of Veteran Affairs that veterans who are unable to secure and follow substantially gainful employment because of service-connected disabilities shall be rated totally disabled. And then 38 CFR 4.19 makes something else very clear. It states that age may not be considered as a factor in evaluating service-connected disability or unemployability. Think about what that means. If the regulation says age can't be considered, then the question isn't how old are you? The question is, what are your service-connected disabilities preventing you from doing? That's the question you should be asking yourself long before ever walking into a C&P exam. Because if you can't clearly explain how your service-connected disabilities affect your ability to work, it's much harder for the examiner and ultimately the VA rater to understand the full picture. Age isn't evidence, so ask yourself, but for my service-connected disabilities, would I still be working today? If the answer is yes, then your disabilities, not your age, may be the reason you can no longer maintain substantial gainful employment. That's exactly what the VA is supposed to evaluate. So how do you build a strong TDIU claim? The answer may surprise you. You build it the same way you build almost every other VA claim. The VA still has to evaluate evidence. The difference is that instead of proving service connection or the severity of a disability, your evidence now needs to answer one specific question. How do your service-connected disabilities prevent substantially gainful employment? 3 types of evidence help answer that question. Medical evidence describing your functional limitations. Your lay statement explaining how those limitations affect your ability to work. And your vocational history, showing why you can no longer perform the type of work you've done. When all 3 tell the same story, they create a much stronger TDIU claim. The next time you find yourself wondering, do I qualify for TDIU? Start by asking yourself this instead: but for my service-connected disabilities, would I still be working today? If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you don't miss future episodes where we continue to break down the VA claims process into practical, understandable steps. Until next time, this is Specialist Joe signing off. Bye-bye.